Okay, so primary jig trailers. This is what I would use if I were taking the jig out and looking for a good trailer. This would be the first box that I would open because in here we have, your go-tos like your pocket craws and your chigger craws power bait, your chigger toads even by power bait for those that don't know that big sucker right there. I'll throw that on a 3/8 ounce jig, and believe it or not, it really slows down the fall rate of that jig tremendously, but it still has that big profile for when I feel as though I need it in dirtier water, or if I'm fishing in a lot of type of vegetation, or even punching it through. A lot of times I'll just use a chigger craw on a tungsten weight on the front and just fish something like that. It's real fat and real chunky and very buoyant. So if you do use it on a jig, it will slow it down even on a tungsten weight for flipping and pitching. It's a great option. In addition, we have Sweet Beavers, something a little smaller, little Perfect Plastics. We have some Yums in here. We have some Trigger X. We have the Grande Bass Mega Claws trailers. Um, what else? We got some standard, whatever these are, the little fake pork plastic. Do I use pork? Yes, I do sometimes. I have 3 or 4 containers of pork that are right behind me. Black and blue, white, orange, and I think the other one is green. But I would like to use plastic more. Pork's kind of a pain in the butt to put, not so much put on the hook, but take off. If you don't take it off, it dries out. But there are times where pork I feel as though would be a better choice if the fish are not, so much wanting to hold on to the bait. The pork with the fat side down can really make those fish hold on to it a little bit better. Um, but most plastics these days, let's face it, they have a natural scent or an oil or salt impregnated, and the fish hold on to them. But it's personal preference. Here are the Havocs. I forgot what they're called exactly. I think these are the Skeet Reese ones or Bobby Lanes. I don't remember offhand. But I'll use this on like a swim jig. Something with a lot of surface to it. You see the profile of it. It's nice and fat. And in addition to that, if I'm throwing a white jig in the fall, like a swim jig, there's my go-to right there. Is the Lunker City Salad Spoon, and they actually revised this bait. Here's the original, which you see on top. It's more of a pearl, and then this one is like the revamped version of the original, which is a lot. It's just a different material, and I kind of like the new ones better, but these ones work just as good too. Swim jig trailer, not afraid to throw a big profile bait on there like that. Sometimes even the full-size pocket craws is a good choice. If I want something with a little bit more movement, I'll go with the Rage Craw in the white. But again, it's personal preference. A lot of people would use a brush hog on the end of their jig. I don't know, for those watching, seeing the craze of using a full-size brush hog on the end of the jig. I heard that works really well down south. You're offering the fish something really big, and a lot of times it's something they've never seen before. I mean, a brush hog is a pretty big bait. You put that on the end of a jig and you have a really large bait. So, and then we have our finesse. I don't finesse fish a lot, but there are times where I find myself having to go to it. Midsummer would be a good example when the fish are just so finicky they won't take a fast-moving rattle trap, or they're not really on that reaction bite. They just want something that's a little bit more subtle, and a Senko would be something I would throw weightless, or wacky rig even. And here we have 6-inch trick worms, Yum Dingers, some Lake Fork ring fries, more Senko style baits. Just your basics for finesse fishing. And then last we have a miscellaneous, more or less creature box here with lizards and brush hog style baits, some saber tails, some other off brands in here. But these would be something I would use. The lizards is during the spring when they're spawning. When I'm targeting fish on the beds, because I do bed fish, but I don't overdo it. I'll usually skip a bass that's still in the process of defending. If it's a small 9-inch male, I'm not going to try to catch him. But if there's big females in the area, which are usually in deeper water, it's important to pay attention to what way the male is facing, because a lot of times when he's not on defense, he'll actually face the way of the female, and that'd be what I'm trying to target, are the bigger females. And like I said, they're in usually a little bit deeper water. I like using white that time of year because I can see it in case the white disappears. Then I know, when in doubt, set the hook. Usually the fish is on. Black is also a good color, but I see this a lot with other people that bed fish. They'll use one color lure because they may catch a fish on black with green, and then they'll think that every other fish that's on the bank that's spawning at that time is going to want black and green. And in my opinion, it's more or less, fish are no different than us as humans. If we went to Burger King all at the same time each day and ordered a Whopper with cheese with no pickles and no onions, would that make a whole lot of sense? Would we all want to eat the same thing? Understand though first that a bass is not really trying to eat anything that's in the bed at that time. He's more or less just trying to remove the threat. So these baits would be territorial infringement baits, is what they call it. But in my opinion, experimenting with color and the size of the plastic is very important. I never am usually fishing the same plastic from one fish to another. I'm always switching colors. I'm switching sizes. I'm trying to see what that fish is gonna react to. If it is the male or the female that's in a little bit deeper water, a good pair of Polaroid glasses is going to help you at that time of year. You want to be able to see what that fish is doing. You want to be able to see your bait on the bottom. And that's why I said a white, I'm almost out of them actually, would be a good color to use. Or chartreuse, which I don't have any of. But last we have another box of just miscellaneous plastics. This would be my second box I would go to if I'm looking for something that has a little bit more movement on the end of a jig trailer. We have some Yamamoto hula grubs here, some others, chomper style baits, and then we have the Havoc Devil Spears that moves a lot of water on that single tail design. We have the Zipper Tailworms by Riverside Lures. We have more full-size Yum, whatever these are called. Craw poppies, I think. There's some crazy looking bait there. I have no idea what those are called. Some Japanese baits that I got from a friend for helping him with organizing his tackle last week. And from there we move on to, actually I'm going to end this part because I think it's about ready to end anyway. So we only have 2 more boxes to go through in here and we're done. There's terminal tackle. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.